and were manhandled. And in fact, the media is reporting that one of them died as a result of the situation. Mr. Speaker, it's despicable lies that someone died. I challenge him to produce any dead body that he may have in his possession or the possession of any person. It's despicable lies. Nothing of that sort happened. There was no injury, no hurt. Mr. Speaker, this morning, even before coming to this house, I met with the president of the petitioners by name, Dafur Eric, and their concerns noted as follows. Despite having received our appointment letters and fulfilling all professional administrative obligations, including assuming our respective posts and performing our duties diligently, a significant number of us have still not been issued staff identification numbers. Their main concerns. I assured him that it will be addressed as soon as the Minister for Finance issues financial clearance. We intend to recruit as many as 50,000 teachers, which was provided for in the 2025 budget statement of the Honorable Minister for Finance. So, Mr. Speaker, there is no sighting occurred at the GES or the ministry headquarters. And before answering his question, preceded it with a statement, which statement has gained national prominence. That has to do with teachers who picketed at the ministry and were manhandled. And in fact, the media is reporting that one of them died as a result of the situation. Mr. Speaker, it's despicable lies that someone died. I challenge him to produce any dead body that he may have in his possession or the possession of any person. It's despicable lies. Nothing of that sort happened. There was no injury, no hurt. Mr. Speaker, this morning, even before coming to this house, I met with the president of the petitioners by name, Dafur Eric, and their concerns noted as follows. Despite having received our appointment letters and fulfilling all professional administrative obligations, including assuming our respective posts and performing our duties diligently, a significant number of us have still not been issued staff identification numbers. Their main concerns. I assured him that it will be addressed as soon as the Minister for Finance issues financial clearance. We intend to recruit as many as 50,000 teachers, which was provided for in the 2025 budget statement of the Honorable Minister for Finance. So, Mr. Speaker, there is no sighting occurred at the GES or the ministry headquarters. And before answering his question, preceded it with a statement, which statement has gained national prominence. That has to do with teachers who picketed at the ministry and were manhandled. And in fact, the media is reporting that one of them died as a result of the situation. Mr. Speaker, it's despicable lies that someone died. I challenge him to produce any dead body that he may have in his possession or the possession of any person. It's despicable lies. Nothing of that sort happened. There was no injury, no hurt. Mr. Speaker, this morning, even before coming to this house, I met with the president of the petitioners by name, Dafur Eric, and their concerns noted as follows. Despite having received our appointment letters and fulfilling all professional administrative obligations, including assuming our respective posts and performing our duties diligently, a significant number of us have still not been issued staff identification numbers. Their main concerns. I assured him that it will be addressed as soon as the Minister for Finance issues financial clearance. We intend to recruit as many as 50,000 teachers, which was provided for in the 2025 budget statement of the Honorable Minister for Finance. So, Mr. Speaker, there is no sighting occurred.
Democracy in the Fourth Republic. The framers of the Constitution identified public officials who must directly serve the citizens of Ghana without being afraid of unjustified punishments or reprisals from influential people or members of the executive or legislature. The framers of the Constitution identified that it is only when these public officials we can work without fear, control, or at the pleasure of influential people that freedom and justice will reign in Ghana. The law did not provide for the termination of their appointment by any authority. The Constitution set up grounds and processes for removing them from office under Article 146. And these grounds must reach the standard of, quote, inability to perform the functions of their office. The officials include, apart from Superior Court justices, commissioners of Traj, commissioners of NCCE, commissioners of EC, Electoral Commission, the Auditor General, and the chairman and the vice chairman and members of the Public Service Commission. The third reason for the statement is that in order to address the troubling violations of the Constitution and illegality of the proceedings that have become obvious to me, that became obvious to me from the beginning of the process. I started an action in the Supreme Court. I applied for the proceedings of the committee set up by His Excellency the President to be held in public, so that in the interest of transparency and for the truth in the matters being raised to be made known to the people of Ghana. I did so because I knew that the secrecy of the proceedings for removing justices was not created in the Constitution as a cover-up for any agenda. The Constitution expects that only reasons for removing the Chief Justice and public officials as set out in Article 146 will be the reason for doing so. And especially, such reasons must affect public sensitive national interests or public order or safety. I realize that in my case, should the public be made aware of the allegations in the petition, they would realize that none of the allegations made border even remotely on matters of national interest or matters of public order or safety, or anything that indicates that I'm unable to perform the functions of my office. An example is an allegation that I failed to retire accountable interest of $14,000 when I traveled. When I did retire that accountable interest 2 days after I returned from my journey, I was given $14,000. I could only spend $4,400, and I returned $9,600. 2 days after I returned from my journey. And that's why I knew that it was necessary that the issues being thrown around as petitions against me needed to get into the public space. I swore to a supplementary affidavit alerting the Supreme Court also of human rights violations that I had started encountering when I went to the Article 146 hearings. However, the members of the Supreme Court that heard the application refused my application for the hearing in open, and they also struck out the supplementary affidavit at the request of the Attorney General. I have decided to make this statement today because the violations have not stopped. Indeed, they have escalated beyond anything I could have imagined as possible in justice delivery. These violations include the committee's refusal, in breach of the rules of natural justice, to recognize my lawyer on the first day of proceedings, simply because I was not personally present with him. And they went ahead to make arrangements for the hearing without involving my lawyer while he was sitting in front of them. The committee has also failed to indicate the specific charges that I'm supposed to be defending myself against in order to allow me to adequately prepare a defense of the charges. The committee has gone on to permit two of the petitioners, Mr. Daniel Ofori and Shining Stars, not to testify at all or present what case they brought to them at the
engagement.
Democracy in the Fourth Republic. The framers of the Constitution identified public officials who must directly. The law did not provide commissioners of EC, His Excellency the President, to be held in public, so that in the interest of transparency and for the truth in the matters being raised to be made known to the people of Ghana. I did so because I knew that the secrecy of the proceedings for removing justices was not created in the Constitution as a cover-up for any agenda. The Constitution expects that only reasons for removing the Chief Justice and public officials as set out in Article 146 will be the reason for doing so. And especially, such reasons must affect public sensitive national interests or public order or safety. I realize that in my case, should the public be made aware of the allegations in the petition, they would realize that none of the allegations made border even remotely on matters of national interest or matters of public order or safety, or anything that indicates that I'm unable to perform the functions of my office. An example is an allegation that I failed to retire accountable interest of $14,000 when I traveled. When I did retire that accountable interest 2 days after I returned from my journey, I was given $14,000. I could only spend $4,400, and I returned $9,600. 2 days after I returned from the democracy in the Fourth Republic.
Now, the venue in question is the Edu Lodge. Yes, it is close to the Osu Castle, which used to be the former seat of government. As I speak, there are government agencies that operate there. So it is a public place. The Osu Castle is a public place. You can go there to conduct official government business. Beside it are private residences owned by Ghanaians who move freely in and out of their residence, even though they are situated very close to the Osu Castle. So the impression that a facility in the vicinity of the Osu Castle necessarily makes it intimidating or foreboding is completely misplaced. It is unfair. It is not justifiable. Now, Edu Lodge is a state facility which is often used to house high-ranking officials who visit the Republic of Ghana. It belongs to the state. The decision to use that place was not that of government or President Mahama. The committee requested that they needed facilities of a certain status that could house their activities and that could facilitate a smooth running of the proceedings. And that facility was available. It is equipped with modern amenities that will facilitate the work of the committee. And the state only offered it upon the request of the committee. Let me also state that that facility is not intimidating. It is like any regular state facility where business can be conducted to the extent that it is put in the right shape. Whereas
government is broke, government is broke. The people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
All right, good morning. Today is the 26th of June, 2025. Good morning once again, and welcome to the show. This is Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My name is Awudu Moro. Thank God we're still alive and kicking. And what I say, a big thanks to the Almighty God for giving us another rare privilege of being here to join the nation's conversation on what's happening in our dear country, Ghana. So, as always, we go straight ahead and look at what the newspapers are reporting this morning. We go straight to the front pages of the newspapers, and as always, Daily Graphic is what I will start with. Daily Graphic, controversial SML contract. OSP picks up 8, 5 former GRA gurus included. Resignation not an option. Suspended Chief Justice, President followed Constitution. No political agenda, spokesperson. Now, Kwewu Chieftaincy crisis, Eastern Region House of Chiefs restrains Bafwa Koto Osei, 6 others. The Ghanaian Times. Government disburses 8.9 million cedis arrears owed special schools. President Mahama in Belgium for Global Health Summit. Ni Adama Lache II urges calm in Gamashi. Ni Teko Churu praise Supreme Court to quash High Court ruling. OSP arrest former GRA officials over SML contracts. Daily Guide. Kufuor slams religious politics. OSP arrest former GRA SML staff. I will not resign over dark unlawful in-camera probe. Tokono. Sofa Kufu queries a Talo license extension. 2 arrested over Dampong headmaster's murder. The Insight. In-camera hearing into petitions for removal of Chief Justice. Suspended CJ cries foul, but government says no cause for alarm. You've sold Ada for salt. Aggrieved chiefs. Youth lash out at traditional leaders over confirmed ties to Electrochem. Angela Harris unveils vision to reclaim Africa's greatness as Emerge U.S. Africa Conference launches new Pan-African movement. Immigration Service to embrace digital permit system. Founders Day. VEB calls for rethinking of development financing to meet national goals. The New Republic. Yoko sweeps ex-NAFCO cartel. CEO, wife and 2 directors nabbed. Debt disaster rocks Kevin Ochi. Swiss firm demands Springfield takeover amidst debt scandal. Oil tycoon seeks Pale's help as accusations of a $90 million fraud hit hard. Tokono, blah, blah, blah. Government says she must play by the rules or face the music. Ex-GRA boss, 2 others nabbed over SML scandal. GJA's elections, plot thickens. Dunfor implicated in voter register scam. Drivers, cleaners, watchmen, cameramen, and duplicate names uncovered. Daily Post. Tokonu files for judicial review to declare removal proceedings void. Defense Minister Dr. Manibuama warns public of fake Facebook account, urges vigilance during GAF recruitment. Government rejects claims of political agenda against suspended Chief Justice Tokonu. Ansasari fires suspended CJ, says she's a victim of the system she supervised. The Business and Financial Times. Electricity tariffs to go up 2.45% July 1, but CSOs slam opaque methodology, demand halt. Mindset shift needed as plastic waste crisis deepens. VFS Global opens UK Visa Premium Application Center in Kumasi. Zoom Lion extends sustainable waste management solutions to Burkina, that's Burkina Faso. Sebastien Day appointed chair of Tibet Governing Council. And Insurance House inaugurated in Accra. All right, so these are the headlines of the various newspapers that we have received this morning. Please stay with us. This is Good Morning God. I have some great news for you. Please don't go anywhere.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kelkit Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kelkits, happy smile.
Unemu bua unkoisha Dr. Ban uye denwa.
Oh, Mr. Yamfani come and me burua.
Mami Doburo. Don't ya tell me ko bra. Mumi Yamfani ko Dr. Ban ho.
Dr. Ban oya de.
Bra, se banu no mpemu adwuma sasabro slow Dr. Ban oye.
Say ni kemi kwa na meka. Oh no mpemu nimdi onu na ye expect nya zanfo no. O akra eni Kumasi no mpemu expect yen kan kire o.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson,
Me didn't tum. Mr. Friendly Calico, just call me cockroach.
Now, Mr. Friendly once now.
Hey, that's on you. Impruka. Yeah. Captain Mosquito, double the action. Me did this sasso spray. Mr. Friendly sasso quell. Yeah, go to my sasso come and tum preko.
Buy affordable service plots and lands from estate masters. Currently selling our next cottage, located at the newly proposed airport city, with a starting price of 25,000 Ghana cedis. We also have Palm Hills, located at Panfukuro in the Gomwa East District, also with a starting price of 15,000 Ghana cedis. Available also is Coastal Park in Lakleku, which is a 15-minute drive from the Ningo Senior High School, having a starting price of 55,000 Ghana cedis. You will receive a free site plan with indenture once you successfully purchase a land from us. For any enquiries, contact the numbers provided. Estate Masters, your most preferred estate partner.
I'm here at Mycom JA Limited to show you the Promethean Active Panel, the ultimate tool for corporate institutions, hospitals, schools, and your home. With its crystal clear 4K display and an unbreakable screen with an ultra responsive touch technology, this isn't just a screen, it's a game changer. For corporate institutions and in schools, this active panel can be used for Zoom meetings and PowerPoint presentations. And oh, your homes are not left behind. You can use it to watch all your favorite programs by just connecting to a Fire Stick, and you can get access to channels like Netflix and Amazon, and voila, you are in there. At Mycom JA Limited, we provide you with the best quality products from the United States of America with 1-year warranty. You can get
All right, you're live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. This show is also live on 94.1 on your radio dial. So please tell a friend to tell a friend that in case you can't watch us on TV, for whatever reason, you can tune into the radio station, 94.1 FM. For now, it's nameless. It's just 94.1. Just tune in and enjoy your favorite Good Morning Ghana show. So this morning we have some special guests. It's an executive interview, and it's something that you would be more than glad or happy to listen to. It's about a school that I believe you have heard about in whatever circles. I'm talking about the Nobel International Business School. They have a big event coming up on Saturday. It's called the June 2025 doctoral graduation ceremony, and I am totally in love with the theme for the program. But once the original composer of the song is here, I definitely wouldn't want to do a rendition. So they'll tell us what the theme for the occasion is, but they're here. So on my immediate left, so I believe in ladies first, so I'll introduce the lady. She's called Sylvia Ofori Osei Mensah. She's the head corporate and institutional banking at your favorite bank, or one of your favorite banks, Cal Bank. And one of the things is that Cal Bank is going to be a partner on Good Morning Ghana show soon. And so that's why I said your favorite bank, Cal Bank. And she's here. Sylvia, good morning. It's good to have you join us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And how's the family? How's everybody?
Family is good. Everyone is fine.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. You know, I'm told Sylvia doesn't do a lot of media engagement. But today she's been yanked out of her rat hole. And she's been brought here. But the good thing is she's also a graduate, in fact, soon to be a graduate of NIPS, that's Nobel International Business School. Also with us is, he is Senano Kwesi Kluche. His Dr. Senano Kwesi Kluche, but on his complimentary card is Senano Kwesi Kluche, PhD. He's a senior lecturer in economics and finance. He's also here. Good morning, boss. Good morning. It's good to see you.
Good morning. Good morning. Nice to have you here and to be in your studio.
Great. And I hope you're doing very well.
I'm doing very well.
Okay. All right. So there's a big event coming up on Saturday, and before we even talk about the Saturday's event, I think there are a few, questions based on our own curiosity that we'd want to ask. Now, let's me first of all ask you this, that kindly tell all of us and our viewers who are watching the show about the doctoral programs that you're offering at NIPS University. But before then, I noticed as an interesting what I'll call variance or discrepancy. That's a much better word. So on your card, I see NIPS, which is Nobel International Business School. And then there's another document I have which says NIPS University. What accounts for this discrepancy?
Okay, so once again, so good morning to your cherished viewers and those listening to us from the house. So not too long ago, we didn't have a charter, which means we didn't have the right to issue our own certificates and maybe conferments and the like. So in December last year, we had our charter, which we became sort of autonomous, and we needed to rebrand. So we had to add university to our name. We didn't also want to lose the NIPS brand that we've already built already, so we just added university to NIPS. But the full abbreviation now is Nobel International Business University. Okay. So the school is now out of the picture. So it's Nobel International Business University, in short, NIPS University. Okay. We have a charter now. We issue our own certificates and have our own programs that we run.
What are you affiliated to any external university or foreign university?
Yes, we are. We are affiliated to 2 international universities and then also 1 local university. So because of our status before, we needed this partnership to help us roll the programs that we wanted to roll out. Okay. So we have one with the Swiss, SBS Swiss Business School, and then IPAG in Business School in France. Yes, those are the international partnerships. And locally, we have a partnership with Gamepad 2 as well. Okay. Yes. But now that our status has changed, the level of engagement sort of will reduce with this, our partners going forward.
Okay.
Yes.
That's good. But there are many universities and institutions who are offering doctoral degrees, some online and so on. What makes the NIPS University experience unique? Why you?
So I think for this question, in fact, that's what actually made me to even join NIPS. Okay. Across the globe, the challenge for doctoral studies has been supervision. So graduation rates across the globe is very low. So you're talking about 18-20% graduation rate. And the challenge and the problem is supervision. Supervisors don't respond to students when they submit their work. Assignments are not marked on time, and then the like. But at NIPS, we're able to break that code. So when I got to NEBS, I was made to understand that I have 14 working days to respond to any student's work. And at the end of the month, they check this before they even pay your salaries, you can imagine.
Really?
So we are up and running when it comes to supervision.
Okay.
And we have an open door policy. Students can walk in anytime during the week without an appointment. They can see their supervisors. And we as lecturers also, we don't only come to campus. We are there from Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 5 p.m. So students can always reach us. That's the difference. So as a result, we are having this success.
Tell me how you are able to balance, for instance, so let me put it this way. How is the curriculum of the doctoral program at your place designed such that it enables people or your clients to balance the academic rigor with the practical relevance? How do you do that?
Actually, it was the main reason why I was set up. We realized that in the universities, there's a lot of emphasis on theory. There were a lot of emphasis on theory. And what it meant was that we also saw that this was a gap. Employers were complaining about people not actually fit to the rules that they actually get employed on. So we decided to bring doctoral service to professionals who have enough practical experience so that they can have the qualification to enable them to impart the knowledge to students in the classroom. So that teaching in the classroom will not only be about theory, but also be practice, right? So we decided to come up with doctoral studies that is so flexible. You don't come to class every now and then. You come to class every other month. And then also the other issue is that you also don't actually have to do a lot of assignments every week or every other time. So what actually happens is that we have what we call a block unit format that we run. You take the course, the credit hours within some few days, and then you just do a post-seminar assignment. But the doctoral study is structured in two parts. We have you do your coursework within a year, and then after the year, you do your research work. And if you are somebody who is dedicated and committed, within 2.5 years or 3 years, you should be able to complete your studies with us. You don't have to leave your work and go to another university.
Okay. I'm told that we have a bit of a technical challenge with your microphone, and so it will be sorted out. Just give us a few seconds. But once let me come to Sylvia. Sylvia, your mic doesn't have an issue, so I can talk to you. But so in your case, I think that the obvious question would be, what went into your decision to choose NIPS University of all the other universities that were either probably offering you similar services or the same, or the other ones that you came across? Why NIPS?
Okay, thank you. So for me, it was the flexibility that you get at NIPS, as the support you get, and the international collaboration. So NIPS is such that the program is in modules. So in your first year, you have 5 days straight where you are going through the program. And with that, me being a professional, and most of my colleagues are also professionals and they are working, you need to take some days off to do that. Unlike the other universities, I believe that you would have to do either evenings or weekends or something. But that's one, you know that you've dedicated a 5-day or a 4-day to the program. So you finish it like he said, and then you are given post-semester assignments and all that. Then you take your time to get it done. In terms of the support, you get support from your supervisors, the faculty. We also have research fellows where they would support you with either finding papers for your work. Even if you don't understand, everybody's available to support you there. I don't know about other universities, but I mean, looking at the pass rate of doctoral graduates, it's really low. If you do a research, you realize that it's really low. When you come to NIPS, every year, in fact, we have graduations twice in a year, June and November, you get people graduating. And that tells you the support we get from the institution. And that is why I chose to go to NIPS to have it done.
I see. So it's the flexibility.
Yes.
Especially based on how tight your schedule is.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. How have all of these experiences that you've gained from, from NIPS shaped your thinking and also your leadership qualities and competencies and so on? How has that helped?
Okay, so going through this program for 3 years, you wouldn't take anything on a face value. Okay. If someone tells you something, there should be facts behind it. Because the training we have at NIPS is such that whatever issue you come up with, you should have findings. You need to research it and then back your work with findings and all that. You need to analyze everything. So if someone is saying that A equals B, there should be a reason why it is A equals B. You can't just take it on the face value. So as a professional and as a leader, yes, you need to have reasons or facts behind everything. You don't just take things as it comes to you. It makes decision making a bit challenging because you might take a decision based on something and at the end of the day you realize that the outcome is not what it's supposed to be. Yeah.
But it's interesting. How do you, for instance, are able to tell whether, so first, how do you assess success, i.e., how are you able to judge whether indeed your university is producing the type of quality materials that you envisage? How do you, what metrics do you use? Do you look at it in terms of the numbers, in terms of, you look at it quantitatively or qualitatively?
Okay, so quantitatively, we do what we call tracer studies, where we speak to employers of most of our students. And some of us, a chunk of them own their own businesses. We do a quick evaluation of them, and then we do the study. Also for audit purposes, GTEC will come around and they want to see some of these studies. But what we've actually realized is that most of them, in fact, are doing very well. A lot of them, after the doctoral studies, they get promotions. With the current government, a lot of them have been appointed to as well. So we can say that they are doing so well. And most of the employers are telling us that they notice a change in delivery, in how some of them make their contributions at meetings. And some are also now coming to enroll in our universities too as well. So we monitor this.
I see. I'm sure that in the marketing, nomenclature, there's talk about WOM, right? Word of mouth.
Yes.
I'm sure that based on what you said, there's a lot of word of mouth going on about how quality, your services are.
Yes.
Now back to the main event or onto the main event, which is coming up this Saturday.
Yeah.
I take notice of the theme, and it says that leaders of thought, architects of growth. Now, how does the doctoral program at NIPS nurture such leadership?
So when you come to do your doctoral studies at NIPS, your first 5 days of lectures prepares your mind in terms of how you can think scientifically, right? So you question almost everything that is thrown at you. You look at how you are going to investigate this, how you are going to establish relationship between whatever ideas that have been thrown to you. And based on this, you're able to make very clear judgments, right? So even in setting your hypothesis to test and all this, and we ask you it to be directional because we want you to be specific in what you want to actually do. And with the professional doctorates, what happens is that you have to have a practical issue to research on. And the idea is that you go back and then you see how you can implement this in your various walks of life. So it gives you the knowledge to be able to come up with practical solution, which will come to the benefit of the economy as a whole, and then fuel growth too as well. So we have students doing work on ESG. We have students doing work on access to funding for SMEs. We have students doing work on also organizational justice in some of our institutions and then the like. So we hope that with their positions and then their knowledge, they'll be able to be architects of growth in their various institutions.
I see. So you're talking about, so it's part of your modular delivery.
Yes, please.
And also you talked about your international collaborations and also faculty support and so on. Sylvia, I'm curious, which of these stood out for you whilst you're there?
Okay, so for me, all three.
All three?
Yes. All three because, like I said, it's flexible. So you are able to plan. You can book your leave such that you can go to school and not impact your work. In terms of support, the whole faculty, supervisors, research fellows, everybody is there to support you. I mean, in the library, it's open 24, it's open You can have access to it online. There are resources there that you can get.
Okay.
And then the international collaboration. So everything we do, we actually get the outline from our partner institutions. So they tell you this is how they want it done. So you're in Ghana, but at the end of the day, you have your studies like you're out there. You don't need to leave your work, travel outside, go have it. So you tend to keep your work. At the end of the day, you still get to go to school and get your degree certificate from the international universities.
Oh, that's interesting. Any challenges that you want to share with us, and how did you overcome those challenges with the support of NIPS?
Okay, so for me, the challenges had to do, my thesis topic is actually a new area. It's on sustainability, ESG. That's why my supervisor said I did something on that. And I realized that we didn't have, a lot of that hasn't been done in the Ghanaian context. So getting materials, resources for it was quite a challenge. But speaking to my supervisor and other
weren't that many journals.
Yes, so they were able to get us get me the resources, the materials I needed to be able to come up with my thesis in the Ghanaian context, because I was looking at it in a Ghanaian context.
Right.
But we didn't have a lot of work that has been done here. So that was one of my major challenges. But aside that, yes, we're able to overcome it and get the work done.
Maybe because it was a Ghanaian context, it makes it a bit broader, isn't it? Couldn't you have narrowed it a bit?
So my work was in sustainable banking
Yes.
And checking the performance of sustainability on the performance of banks in Ghana here.
Right.
So the context is Ghanaian industry,
so
but in the banking industry.
The banking industry.
So it was all the 23 banks, but we didn't get work that has been done
in that area.
Yes. So then we have to look at what has been done outside.
I see.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Saturday, and that's my final penultimate question. So Saturday is the big day. It's your graduation is happening on Saturday. So what should we expect? How many people, first of all, are you graduating?
We're looking at close to 50 doctoral students.
Is that the highest?
Not the highest. Maybe the second highest.
The second
since
highest.
I've been there. But it's a mix of those doing academic doctorates, professional doctorates as well. And to think of it, we run cohorts, right? So some of the cohorts, this is the year for them to graduate. There were some people despite their support, due to certain challenges, they couldn't graduate. So some of them are also joining them. That's why the number is quite huge. Yes, but we do it twice a year because we recruit twice a year. So every 3 years, you expect people to be ready to graduate, either in June or in November. The other thing too is that because we have partners out there, we do our graduation, and those who have registered with the partner institution will have the time to also attend the universities also outside the country too as well. And in the current space where people are talking about evidence in terms of where did you get your DR, your doctor from, and then the like, this all contribute to the evidence. You do a mock defense after you've completed your thesis, which is public. You do a public defense, which is public. Your work is sent to 3 external reviewers. Some are professors in our universities, some outside. They review the work, we work on it, send it to a partner outside, and then you work on it. Then you are now ready for graduation. So, and we try to let it go out there because we don't want our students to suffer the fate that other students, other people are.
So at NIPS University, you don't gift doctoral,
no way.
You earn it.
Yes, you earn it.
The hard way.
Yes, you earn it.
So after all of this, then somebody will come and stand in front of you and say, I'm doctor, so and so, now church been a demand. And so me and you are on the same level.
Yes,
Sylvia will be very upset with you.
I know. So,
anyway.
So in fact, you earn it, and as part of the earning bit of that doctorate, I can attest to the fact that if you take the thesis of any of our students at NIPS, it's rough shoulders with any doctoral thesis, and even above what you find.
So just quite let's do a final question. Did you get any support from any of the alumni?
Okay, so
Did you have some friends who were graduates of NIPS who helped you in one way or the other?
Okay, so I mean, for them it was the encouragement. So I have clients who are past students, and I have friends who are also past students. So I mentioned to them that this is what I'm doing. And then they encouraged me. Also told me how they went through it, that if you need support, reach out to this supervisor, reach out to this person. That's how I went about my work and all that. And all that came together to help because, like I say, yes, we are graduating, but I don't think that we did it all by ourselves. We had support, encouragement from people. So the fact that the person will tell you that you can do it, just, do it this way, it's also supports that you're getting. So in as much as you have to do the work yourself, you need to go through your defense and all that. And these are, you have people there and you need to speak to your work. You need to defend it. So, yes.
What is it? Yeah. So soon to be Dr. Sylvia Ofori Osei-Mensah after Saturday.
Yes.
She can't wait.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I know she can't wait.
Yes.
We'll be there to support you.
Thank you.
And just a quick one. What she talked about in terms of the support that the alumni is making, is that what you expect, or you expect a bit more from
No,
the
so
alumni?
they do quite a bit more.
Okay.
So currently we run some few new master's program in fintech management, service design, public sector innovation and leadership, business leadership, and business administration.
Okay.
And Sylvia, for instance, I spoke to her about it. She'll become a mentor to some of these students who are in this master's program. That's what the alumni does. And because they already have their doctorate and won't practice in the classroom, most of them will be teaching some of the models in the master's program.
Okay.
And also we have what we call executive doctors in residence.
Okay.
And they will serve as like a guide, career guide to most of the students who apply for our master's program. She will receive a contract of allocating 6 hours of her time every quarter to mentor these students when she graduates.
Oh, I see.
That's what the alumni does.
Okay.
And they come from various backgrounds, so networks, business opportunities, you get all from our alumni.
I see. So, Sylvia, congratulations in advance.
Thank you.
And you would be teaching, I'm told, at some point. I don't know
Yes.
how you're going to combine that with your banking, work, but whatever it is, I know. The thing about it, and at the risk of sounding sexist, I think that women are better at multitasking.
Yes.
It's just the way they've been wired. Yes. She'll do the teaching, she'll still serve Gal Bank to the best of her ability, and so on and so forth. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Dr. Sylvia Ofori Osei-Mensah.
Thank you.
She can't wait, man.
Yes.
The feeling is good.
Yes, and the graduating cohort is also my class.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have a lot of my cohorts in there graduating on Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You want to mention a few?
Oh, there's Dr. Eledohinia Fuakwa of APSA.
Right.
There's Dr. Menla. There's Dr. Soji.
Okay.
There's Dr. Pearl and the likes.
Oh, Dr. Miller is Legon. Accountant.
No, he's with GRA.
Oh, GRA.
Yes.
Okay. I know one Dr. Miller.
Yeah.
So
So we have a few people in there.
All right. That's fine. So, once again, congratulations first of all to NIPS. You've done a fantastic job. But I think that anybody who mentions NIPS, you know what quality you stand for.
Yes.
You've produced our own Dr. Randy Abbey.
Yes.
It's a product of NIPS, and we all know what Dr. Randy Abbey has done for himself and for some other Ghanaians. So it tells you the quality of the products that you churn out. And I will always encourage anybody who wants to obtain either a master's or doctorate to first of all look at NIPS.
Yes.
So it's NIPS and the rest.
Yes, it's NIPS and the rest. In fact, for doctoral for doctoral studies, it's just us.
It's just you and the rest.
Yes, you and the rest, right. Okay.
Anyway, so soon to be Dr. Sylvia Ofori Osei-Mensah. She's the head corporate and institutional banking with Cal Bank. And she's made me a promise on the show that Cal Bank, sooner rather than later, was going to be a partner here on Good Morning Ghana. So we're waiting. We're keeping our fingers crossed. And also, Senano Kwesi Kluche, Dr. Senano Kwesi Kluche is also a lecturer with NIPS University. He's a senior lecturer in economics and finance. Doc, thank you very much for joining us on Good Morning
Thank you so
Ghana.
much for having us.
And,
I really appreciate the opportunity.
But be engaging the media a bit more, especially with what you teach.
Yes, exactly.
I
personally write on economic issues a lot.
We can count on you.
Yeah, please.
All
you
right.
can get
Annie,
in touch anytime.
Please, we've got you the thing about it, she likes academics a lot.
Oh, okay.
She's soon going to be a lawyer.
She can get in touch.
She likes people who like to read a lot. So she'll get in touch.
Yeah,
we'll all get in touch.
All right, sir.
Thanks.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
Doc,
Thank you.
Once again, congrats.
Thank you.
You can't wait.
I can't wait.
All right, so I will be joined shortly in the studio by two very vociferous and very strong, intellectually strong personalities who will be joining us for a conversation on some of the big issues that are making the rounds. And please stay with us. We'll be right back.
The framers of the Constitution identified public officials who must directly serve the citizens of Ghana without being afraid of unjustified punishment or reprisals from influential people or members of the executive or legislature. The framers of the Constitution identified that it is only when these public officials we can work without fear, control, or at the pleasure of influential people that freedom and justice will reign in Ghana. The law did not provide for the termination of their appointments by any authority. The Constitution set up grounds and processes for removing them from office under Article 146. And these grounds must reach the standard of, quote, inability to perform the functions of their office. The officials include, apart from Superior Court justices, commissioners of Traj, commissioners of NCCE, commissioners of EC, Electoral Commission, the Auditor General, and the Chairman and the Vice Chairman and members of the Public Service Commission. The third reason for the statement is that in order to address the troubling violations of the Constitution and illegality of the proceedings that have become obvious to me, that became obvious to me from the beginning of the process. I started an action in the Supreme Court. I applied for the proceedings of the committee set up by His Excellency the President to be held in public, so that in the interest of transparency and for the truth in the matters being raised to be made known to the people of Ghana. I did so because I knew that the secrecy of the proceedings for removing justices was not created in the Constitution as a cover-up for any agenda. The Constitution expects that only reasons for removing the Chief Justice and public officials as set out in Article 146 will be the reason for doing so. And especially, such reasons must affect public sensitive national interest or public order or safety. I realize that in my case, should the public be made aware of the allegations in the petition, they would realize that none of the allegations made border even remotely on matters of national interest or matters of public order or safety, or anything that indicates that I'm unable to perform the functions of my office. An example is an allegation that I failed to retire accountable interest of $14,000 when I traveled. When I did retire that accountable interest 2 days after I returned from my journey, I was given $14,000. I could only spend $4,400, and I returned $9,600. 2 days after I returned from Ghana, from my journey. And
in the last few minutes, many of you in the media have reached out to me, seeking to inquire about what government makes of the press engagement that Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, just had, which bordered on the petitions brought against her and the deliberations of the committee tasked to look into the matter. Ordinarily, if the matters were left to the content of the petition and the processes being undertaken by the committee, we will not have cause to comment because those are matters beyond the purview of the president or the government. But a number of things were said at the media engagement that, if left uncorrected, could create an erroneous impression and project government in a very unfair, unjust, unwarranted light. To begin with, we respect the right of Her Ladyship, the Chief Justice, to express any view that she holds about the matter in question, to the extent that it is consistent with the rules, because the Constitution makes it clear what the processes are in determining a matter of the sort that we are engaged with. The Constitution requires confidentiality on the part of all parties. It is a reason why the presidency, on behalf of His Excellency the President, has refrained from commentary on the matter beyond stating what the President has done in compliance with the Constitution. So it would have been desirable that that constitutional provision was respected by Her Ladyship the Chief Justice, so that we do not have to engage in public commentary up until the time that the committee looking into the matter makes their determination. We are compelled, however, to correct certain misimpressions that were created at the briefing. To begin with, let me point out that as yet, nobody has been able to ascribe any known verifiable constitutional breach to the president in the way that he has handled this particular matter. From the very first steps in this matter, the president has kept fidelity to the Constitution and has respected the spirit and letter of the Constitution. Everything he has done has been by the book. Now, the venue in question is the Edu Lodge. Yes, it is close to the Osu Castle, which used to be the former seat of government. As I speak, there are government agencies that operate there. So it is a public place. The Osu Castle is a public place. You can go there to conduct official government business. Beside it are private residences owned by Ghanaians who move freely in and out of their residence, even though they are situated very close to the Osu Castle. So the impression that a facility in the vicinity of the Osu Castle necessarily makes it intimidating or foreboding is completely misplaced. It is unfair. It is not justifiable. Now, Edu Lodge is a state facility which is often used to house high-ranking officials who visit the Republic of Ghana. It belongs to the state. The decision to use that place was not that of government or President Mahama. The committee requested that they needed facilities of a certain status that could house their activities and that could facilitate a smooth running of the proceedings. And that facility was available. It is equipped with modern amenities that will facilitate the work of the committee. And the state only offered it upon the request of the committee. Let me also state that that facility is not intimidating. It is like any regular state facility where business can be conducted to the extent that it is put in the right shape. Wherever these proceedings were held, it will still be in camera, as clearly stipulated in Article 1468 of the 1992 Constitution. Now, the venue in question is the Edu Lodge. Yes, it is close to the Osu Castle, which used to be the former seat of government. As I speak, there are government agencies that operate there. So it is a public place. The Osu Castle is a public place. You can go there to conduct official government business. Beside it are private residences owned by Ghanaians who move freely in and out of their residence, even though they are situated very close to the Osu Castle. So the impression that a facility in the vicinity of the Osu Castle necessarily makes it intimidating or foreboding is completely misplaced. It is unfair. It is not justifiable. Now, Edu Lodge is a state facility which is often used to house high-ranking officials who visit the Republic of Ghana.
All right, you're live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. My guests are here. They're seated. They've been here for a while. So the man, Hamza Suhini, is a private legal practitioner and a member of the NDC's communications team. He's here with us. So good morning, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Mo.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. And good morning to my senior brother in the studio as well. And of course, our cherished viewers out there. Yeah. And to say that regardless of the number of noises made, the law is still the law.
You know, you started very early. You started very, 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 very early.
It's important for me to state that. Moro, that's why I think that I prefer to do so.
Okay.
Sometimes we can forget. And especially those of us who are privileged to be practitioners, it is only proper that we continue to remind ourselves that irrespective of the nuances made about legal principles, the law will still remain the law.
All right. So let me introduce your other colleague on the other side, who's also a lawyer, and he also believes the law is the law. He's called lawyer Ishaq Ibrahim, who is, he's a lecturer, first of all. He's also a private legal practitioner. And of course, in good standing, and he's been practicing for many years. And also a member of the MPP's Legal Directorate. Assalamu alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum salam.
And assalamu alaikum to you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Good morning to you, and good morning to my very good brother here, and good morning to the good people of the country. It's quite interesting. Hamza started by saying the law is the law, which is quite true. There is a famous quotation from the House of Laws appellate committee when a case got to them. And within that case, I think it was Barclays Bank versus Rosette.
Right.
Lord Denny made a statement that equity has not passed the age of childbearing. So he created a new equity to safeguard the lady whose husband had deserted him. So this equity he created was deserted women equity. That if your husband deserts you and run away and refuse to pay the mortgage, there is some kind of equity that you would have gained because your husband have deserted you. The House of Law says that yes, equity has not passed the age of childbearing, but it might born legitimate children.
Okay.
So the law might be the law, but the way you implement the law can be illegitimate. It is for this reason that I think I need to remind him that yes, the law is a law, but we need to implement the law in such a way that it reflects the spirit and the letter of the law, not just probably using it as a tool to implement your hidden agenda.
The suspended Chief Justice didn't know
So
that.
we want him to know that implement the law, but don't use it as a tool, as a clock, to implement your hidden agenda. So I agree with him. The law is the law. Implement it with the spirit of the law.
Okay.
No hidden agenda. Using the law as a clock. Thank you.
That's fine. Thanks for those, what I call preliminary.
Okay.
Yes. So it sets the stage for, I think it's quite obvious what our main topic for today. So yesterday the Chief Justice met the press and she said quite a bit. And then I think a few minutes later, the minister in charge of government communications, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, also responded to aspects of which he believed bordered on some kind of a criticisms or an attack on the government, which he said was quite unfair, and if it's not corrected, it will create a wrong impression out there. And so he responded to those aspects. In fact, I also heard him say that you know, under normal circumstances, this is this if it was just about the substance and also the processes which have been undertaken, it should have been left with the committee to respond to. But the aspects that bother on governance generally, that's where he comes in. Of course, government, that's where he comes in. Now, you listened to her, Ishak, and also Ibrahim Hamza. You also did. In fact, we all have copies of the statement here. But before we do that, let me tell you how the newspapers are reporting it. So the Daily Guide looks at it from this angle. It says, I will not resign over dark, unlawful, in-camera probe at Tokono. Jibril Abdulrazak says Justice Gretu Tokono has taken a stance against calls on her to resign from her petition as Chief Justice, in spite of what she described, as dark and unlawful proceedings, you know, initiated to kick her out. According to her, despite the draconian manner in which the Gerapwaman committee hearing the 3 petitions calling for removal is conducting the inquiry, she's willing to marshal through and prove how frivolous allegations against her are. Now, she also indicates that voluntarily resigning or retiring while the proceedings against her was still pending will amount to acceding to allegations and emboldening the petitioners to say that the wild and unfounded allegations in the petition were not defended because they were true, or that she had no credible defense to them. She supported her stance with the 2019 Supreme Court decision and indicated that resigning or retiring while Article 146 proceedings are being conducted to remove a judge is not an option any judge or public official is even allowed to have. And she's raised a number of issues, but we don't have all day to repeat those things. In any case, we'll play the videos. But I'll start with you, Ishak.
Yeah.
What do you make of the presser, yesterday's presser? What for you were the issues that stood out?
Okay. Thank you very much. Yes. I had the opportunity of listening to the press conference, though briefly, not the entirety of it.
Okay.
And I think what she has already said, we have extensively discussed it.
Right.
There were a number of criticisms to that we've heard. You can see some of the response from the government minister, as well as some lawyer like, I think Tiger, I've heard some...
Tiger, sorry?
Yeah, I've heard some preliminary comments from him. So let me deal with... So there are some people who says that the whole press conference was inappropriate because Article 146 insists that the proceedings must be in camera. In other words, it's not open to the general public. It's true that Article 146 says so, that proceedings must be held in camera. Why was, let's ask ourselves, why is Article 146 insisted that the proceedings must be held in camera? For me, I believe it was meant to protect the office of the Chief Justice. Even though the Chief Justice said it is her right, and that she was more or less trying to do away with that right so that the proceedings can be held open, so that the general public can have it. I don't agree with her in that respect. I don't think it was a right. Over there, it was there as a protective mechanism.
Okay.
But the question we need to ask ourselves is, the purpose of which it was put, has it served that purpose? And the answer is no. And whose fault it is? Because the essence of protecting the judiciary, why that provision was put, was defeated. And the fault is down to the president and his surrogates. The petition itself, everything the Chief Justice was saying in the press conference, they are not new. They are not new. We got to know them through the president's surrogates. A good example is that gentleman, the dollar man, Sami Gemfi. I saw him in, what did they call him, in Samson Ladi's show. That was my first time of hearing the content of the petition.
Okay.
And where is Sami Gemfi likely to get this petition? It's from the presidency.
Okay.
He's said to be the darling boy of the president. So if he's able to tell us the content of this petition, so why would people then condemn her? So more or less, the case is already known by the general public. And among them contain several misrepresentations. And if those misrepresentations are already in the public domain, and then she also realized that the committee that had been set up to deal with this matter, she believed her rights as an individual and as a Chief Justice has been infringed by those particular committee. I'll come to discuss those particular things. So for me, the purpose of which this provision was put has been defeated, and the only thing left is a liberty of the individual, which is the Chief Justice is safeguard. Because again, when you are having this committee of this nature, we always have to have in mind the individual at Chapter 5 rights. Those fundamental rights within Chapter 5 need to be respected. So if we no longer have a purpose for this Article 146 because it has been defeated, it is within her right to come out to say that even the petition has already been known by the public, but these are some of the things I'm fighting for. So I think what she's doing is not contrary to Article 146. Right. Article 146 has already been defeated. And those defeated, the blame, as I say, lies with the presidency. So I don't think she's doing something wrong. She's coming to clear the air of what is already in the public domain. Most of it is untrue. And the public are now judged. So if it was completely, what they call it, if we didn't know anything of it, then it would have been inappropriate for her to come out in her press conference. But then, as I said, we know what is in the petition already. So I don't think it's inappropriate. That's what I would say first of all. Okay. So she has made several, I don't want to call them allegations, several assertions that about the nature of the inquiry. The first thing I would like to address is the venue chosen. You could say that they chose Castle as where it's supposed to be held. And one point she made is that she had a family member who was abducted. And she was actually present when the family member is abducted.
That's her uncle?
Yes. And the way she described it, it seems she had a trauma. And any reasonable person will have a trauma if you are able to witness that thing. And if your uncle is abducted, and who happened to be a member of the judiciary, and there's an inquiry to be held about you, and the people who are doing it chose the same place as a venue, any right-thinking member of the public will say that, look at the Republic of Ghana. How many square miles do we have? It could have been held anywhere. Is there a cynicism to it? Why was that venue chosen? When she could point to the fact that I have a childhood trauma. This serious event happened here. So, I mean, I don't know whether they know it deliberately, but it was a high-profile event. One can easily suggest that it was chosen with a purpose in mind. She said it was chosen to intimidate her, and I would probably agree with her because, for example, if the panel member didn't even know, and she now brought it up that venue is not appropriate because this is my experience, what stopped them from changing the place? What stops them from changing the place? So I believe she has a point when it comes to the choice of venue. Again, she has made complaints about the kind of search that is being conducted. This is our Chief Justice. Are they scared that she might be coming there with a loaded gun? What is really the problem? The dignity of the Chief Justice, that she has to be searched each time she's going for a hearing. I mean, you just see it's inappropriate. For God's sake, she is one of the head of one of the branches of government. Why that particular search? If she finds the need to point it out, let's objectively look at it and see whether she has a point or not. Would the Speaker of Parliament, for example, take it if she's going to a venue and she has to be searched? Would the President agree to search if he's entering a venue? What happened to some of the courtesies that we need to extend to head of these branches? So the search area is another area that she has a lot of concerns. And she also complained of breach of natural justice. She doesn't even have the opportunity to confront her accusers. And this is a clearly breach of natural justice. Some lawyers have suggested that Article 146 have not prescribed a procedure. So any procedure adopted is okay. I disagree with them. I disagree with them, yes. Even if it has not prescribed procedure, when conducting hearing, you need to make sure that the hearing is fair, and procedure that you adopted, the discretion you use must not be affected. It must be controlled. So you cannot just adopt any procedure that all you want. And the rules of natural justice always require that you should be able to confront your accusers. You should be able to. And I don't want to take you outside the jurisdiction. There were serious cases in the UK whereby they were getting low conviction rate for rape cases. And they made some number of changes to achieve higher convictions. Among the changes that they made was that you didn't have the opportunity to confront your accusers. The case went all the way to the Strasbourg Human Rights Court. And they said that is wrong. Human rights law requires that you should be able to confront your accuser. Why is she not given the opportunity to be able to confront her accusers? So I believe she's right. The rules of natural justice have been breached in this particular regards. And then she spoke about the traveling expenses that she's alleged to have taken. And among the traveling expenses, she said when she returned from such travel, she even gave a refund. I think it was something like accountably impressed.
Yes.
When she returned, she made a refund. And as she said, how do you expect the Chief Justice, a female, to go on a holiday with her police guard instead of a family member? Does that sound reasonable to us? So I am surprised cases of this nature was able to pass through the prima facie stage. Another area, I think she has been alleged to have breached a judicial function when there was an accused who was arrested, and later the accused said it wasn't captured in the proceedings and other areas. And Felix had the audacity to say that somebody should point to a constitutional provision that has been breached during this particular case. Look at Article 127, for example, of the 1992 Constitution. I'll take you to subclause 3. A justice of the Superior Court or any person exercising judicial power shall not be liable in any action or suit for any act or omission by him in the exercise of the judicial power. So this is a complete immunity for me. If she sees on a case, and in this particular instance, some of the cases was won by some of the guys making the allegations.
Okay.
Why should she be questioned for performing a judicial function when the Constitution is very clear? Article 127 is very clear that you would not be no action. It made it very clear. Proceedings of this nature is an action. It shouldn't be able. So this is a complete immunity she's enjoying over there. As far as those aspects of the allegations is concerned about the exercise of a judicial function. So that's immunity. So this is a constitutional breach. So this aspect, at least this aspect of the case she has been asked to answer, should not even appear. And they shouldn't have passed through the prima facie side. If you refer to Article 127, you just know that for that aspect she has immunity, and therefore it should not pass through the prima facie stage.
Okay.
Having said all these things, she was able to input a motive. And every reasonable person can input a motive. The Irish have a saying that even a dog knows the difference between being kicked and being tripped upon.
Okay.
This, everything, if you look at the totality of it, is cooked up to remove it.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
It's just a matter of give dog a bad name and hang it.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Isha.
Yes.
From where you sit,
yes,
what do you think is the end game in all of these? What the suspended Chief Justice has done?
Yes.
Are you able to surmise? Are you able to conjecture? Are you able to guess?
Yes.
What exactly the end game is? What was she achieve? Was she hoping to achieve? And I'm asking this because And sorry, and it may not be a fair question. It depends on how you look at it, because you don't speak first of all for the Chief Justice, and you can't also second guess.
It is a fair question. You asked me, I'm prepared to answer it.
Yeah, that's fine. So what do you think is the end game? What has she achieved with this?
Look, when the NDCs were in opposition, we knew they had problems with the judiciary.
Right.
They were not happy with the judiciary, and they've not hidden it.
Right.
His Excellency, the President, made it very clear when he met NDC's lawyers. He urged them to pursue professions within the judiciary so that they can promote them to become judges. So we know there's a motive there. We know at least he has advised them. When they were in opposition as well, they criticized the judges and they made threats. They made several threats against them. The chairman of the NDC, for example, is noted to have made it very clear that they need to make changes to the superior courts. Otherwise, they will never achieve justice. He said it. So they have an interest in changing it. And when these particular things, when these allegations were made, I had an interview with Musa Bagbande, who is one of the executives of the NDC, and also at the Jubilee House. He made it very clear that regardless of what happened, they will remove the Chief Justice. The extreme NDCs often says that they are going to remove her regardless of what happened. The less extreme ones, such as Hamza, gives her advice, just as she said, to resign. Otherwise, she might even forfeit her pension and other benefits. And she also added that there are threats given to them. So they want to make changes to the judiciary according to their taste, so that it will serve the purpose of the NDC. But I also suspect what they really want is that they want to remove her.
So it's not what the NDC wants or doesn't want. I want to know what you think that the suspended Chief Justice has achieved with what she's done. What do you think is the end game? What does she want to achieve?
The end game, as I said, they want to change the Supreme Court.
No,
they want to appoint their...
I'm not talking about the ND. I'm talking about the Tokonu.
Yes.
What she did yesterday.
About the press conference.
Yes. What's the end game? What does she intend to achieve?
Well, as I said...
Do you have any idea?
Yes. The leak... at least to clear... You see, the whole thing is going to be held in camera.
Yeah.
Her side has not been heard. If she doesn't come out this way to explain to us, we will not know what her points are. We have already known what is in the leak.
But doesn't that defeat 1468? She's still the Chief Justice. Remember,
I think if you were listening to me, I told you that 146 has already been defeated by the presidency. They have destroyed it.
I'm not talking about who. You see, for me,
yes.
Even if granted, let's even proceed on the assumption that you talked about Sami Jemfi, and he putting out some materials, and the materials Sami Jemfi put out, you say, you guess, you think, you believe he got those materials from the president because he has a very good relationship.
He's
with the
more likely to get it from the president than the Chief Justice.
It is still a guesswork. You're guessing that is because you don't know it as a matter of fact. So I'm just saying that. Let's even say granted he got it from the president. Granted. For the sake of argument.
But is there any doubt over there?
I'm saying that there is I can raise some doubt, and I think that every Ghanaian can raise some doubt because they don't know it as a matter of fact.
I said the presidency.
Okay,
so it might not be the president direct. No problem. It could be any aspect of it.
And I'm sure that at the time you thought it was wrong. Because of the issue of secrecy and confidentiality.
Yes, it has breached it.
Now, how then do you justify if in one breath you're saying there's a problem with that?
Yes.
How then in the same breath you are saying that you don't find anything wrong with the Chief Justice coming out to tell us publicly what she's been going through?
Yes.
Her reservations and the reaction and her feelings about some things that didn't go. So which is which? I want to know where you stand on this. As a matter of
I think I made it very clear that...
Should it continue to remain confidential?
It's not confidential.
You think that depending on the circumstances you find yourself, you can put it out?
No, you see, what I said is that the essence of it, the main reason why that provision was put over there was to protect the office of the Chief Justice.
Yes.
You see, everywhere in the world, the judiciary needs to be protected. And some matters affecting the judiciary should not be aired in the public.
Right.
So the protective reason why it was put over there, as I said, has been defeated by the presidency through his surrogates.
You think so?
No, I believe so because it is meant to protect them.
And I'm saying that.
But then we now know the petition.
But I'm saying that I believe is not a fact. It's not evidence. That's what I'm trying to say.
No. It is a fact that Is it a fact that the petition has been leaked? Is it a fact
but
that?
By who? How do you know who leaked it?
I know Samir Jemfi. I've heard Samir Jemfi talking about those.
I saw it. Well, I know the platform. I don't want to mention, but I'm saying that.
Yes.
Do you know where Samir got the information from?
Wherever he gets it from, but I know they call him a darling boy of the president. Yeah, and I know that he's a member of the NDC. In fact, he's their communication director.
Yeah, but it doesn't make it a fact.
No, just for the purpose
hold on a second.
I
want to respond
to
some earlier statement.
No, he said he had more.
Okay.
On that same point.
That's fine. So I'm just saying that.
Yes.
I'm just saying that.
Yes.
Let's even assume. You see, you're not answering my question. I'm saying that let's even assume.
Actually, maybe you are refusing my answer. What I said is that it was meant to serve a purpose, and that purpose was defeated. What is left to safeguard now is the liberty of the individual. And she believed that leaking the petition and what was said, that there's a lot of misrepresentation that was there.
Okay.
So if it is not clear, and you ask a number of people to sit in camera to decide something, that the public will not be able to hear from her side. So whatever the committee conclude, the public is likely to use what is already in the public domain.
Okay, Ishak,
to agree with the...
When Sami put out those materials, were you okay with it?
No, I wasn't happy with it.
Great.
Yes.
So, but are you okay with the
I am okay with this particular one.
Why?
Simple because the purpose, Samir Jemfi and other members defeated the reason.
Yeah, but
it was a protective mechanism, so there's nothing more to protect.
Ishak, first of all, Samir Jemfi is not a standard. It's not a benchmark.
But he wasn't the only person. I'm just mentioning him as an example.
Okay, no. So for the sake of this argument,
yes,
whoever were the persons who put those information out,
yes,
they are not the benchmark.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the Chief Justice does not take decisions based on who has done what. She takes decisions based on her understanding of the Constitution.
Yes.
That's the point I'm trying to make. And per her understanding of the Constitution, 148 is clear.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about confidentiality.
Yes.
So if anybody tells me, you don't speak for the Chief Justice, I get that.
Yeah.
But if anybody tells me that because some other persons have put the information out, it justifies why our Chief Justice must be seen to be putting that information out, I think it's quite preposterous. With all due respect.
It is not.
If you tell me that you cannot adduce any reason why the Chief Justice decided, that's different. But if you tell me that you believe that what the Chief Justice has done is fine, there's nothing wrong with it, because some other persons have done it. I mean, do you get the point I'm trying to make?
No, some other person have done it.
Because she should be the number one protector of the sanctity of the Constitution.
I think, Ibora, you are refusing my answer.
Okay.
But my answer is very clear. I said that provision in the, if you take a purposive approach to it, that provision in the 1992 Constitution in Article 146 was meant to protect the office of the Chief Justice. That function is no longer available because it has been destroyed already. No. We now know, Ishak, the content of the petition.
Ishak, you're saying that because some persons have decided to put out some materials.
It's not some material. They were material drawn from it.
No, that's what I'm saying. I cannot independently verify whether they were authentic. But I'm saying, let's even granted.
Yeah.
Because some persons have put those materials out. Does that oust? And I mean OUST.
It has defeated the purpose.
But it's still there in the Constitution.
No, but it defeated the purpose of Article 146.
How?
And you have to remember that you have to also, when you are reading Article 146.
I want to finish. I want to finish.
But I just need to bring this to you. So is that what the Justice Derrick said? That immediately it is made public. You are a lawyer and you are a law lecturer, for goodness sake. Does it
I think it's not your time.
That immediately it's made public, it defeats.
No, when it comes to your time.
I think we should line to lunch.
No, it's important because
but I'll come to you.
His students will be watching and they are listening.
No, he knows that.
He knows
that. He's fine.
He's a very selective individual.
This is the video. Let's watch this video. Let's watch this video.
This is scary.
So we are Chief Justice. Now we tu kwan wa wo pemu ko wa koye wa de bi private akwantu a. Policy ni show say nipa ba ko pe na betimi na tu kwan. O bodyguard. O security detail na betimi na tu kwan. O bodyguard. Ono nko na betimi na tu kwan a aban be ye den e be fa ho ka So what did the powerful be acquire? One was a found car.
Untimi ma bodyguard and transfer for before phone.
And policy ne say, a wo, a nam sa wo private intino, unu bodyguard pe. Antiara Chief Justice to kwa bruchira. Wako fani kunu. Asans wa fane baba, wan fa ba ko mienu. Ono ane private travel obi asable da wosalo. Edi susu. Wako fani kunu. Tie wako fani kunu. Ono ane response moji to me that was a private trip. Wako fani kunu. Ako fane baba.
Okay.
Atam Ghana sika twitwiri die. Be 2.8 billion old Ghana cedis ne chire obi.
Enya sa no must take kan sika almost state your petition in them no.
Neja sika ne say.
I don't know we use old Ghana cedis no.
Na obi a tree platform me make new Ghana cedis wa. Omo mutie ne tete no dodo na no old no mutie ase. Be 2.6 billion cedis. Wa kukuru sika twitwiri die. Or the ticket a man who business class, we trebia manikuno, a bicycle, we trebia maneba, or the aqua private trip, private travel, a quabrucha jineni, vacation. So quabrucha could quadrodron who were a bruchri, quadrodron ho, a foul baba. Ah! Usika baby went down to take it. Would your bicycle could business class take it, ama wo baba. Any wukunu now they catch ba kumpwe and now they catch economy open business.
Yeah, but
if
the response to that
tie okay we ya no kwa ma no so we and o san so fa Ghana sika and o san so chema wo mo per diem dollars massa asem way how can anybody defend this? No. What would the Council of State for Nina Ejitum Semameno? Ye rinse minimum. What tam Ghana sika to treat at your trap business class ticket a mawukunu. And they were baba. I sounds what to your Ghana sika ma wa per diem in dollars. And you see the simple. Obi. Na Ghana your mama no papa company and obi de company sika yesa enka wo umpamo no adentina Ghana ha politics inti yempe no kresa enti se John Mahama obi on fa ni Chief Justice and na MPP for tie konwa so and na nipa kro no ko yesi aka MPP for kom enka petition ba ke beka se yemhwemo ma me nan kasa dia tum Bible say wonu mu asem ye di bebuafo ye bisa no so ono ade ne pe e decide say privileges or work for official travels no obe use no for private travel asem boy o ka kire su akura keto akura onsero. Is a private trip the same as an official trip? You were not going on an official trip. Official trip de o kwa koya banjuma enti na nza koya banjuma enti no o ho kwan sa wo fa nipa ba ko a or your relative aban betua
fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to be here today to commission the renovated A.L. Edu Diplomatic Lodge, a facility that embodies the generosity, vision and patriotism of one of Ghana's finest sons, Mr. Amishadai Larson Edu, A.L. Edu, as he was popularly known. Today, as we reflect on this exceptional project, we celebrate not only the physical edifice before us, but also the values and legacy of a man who dedicated his life to public service and diplomacy. Mr. A.L. Edu's contributions to Ghana and the international community serve as an enduring reminder of what one individual, guided by a sense of duty and love for his or her nation, can achieve. Mr. A.L. Edu was a trailblazer, a man who walked with humility and yet left indelible footprints. His service to the nation is a reflection of his belief that diplomacy is not just a profession, but also a calling to bridge divides foster understanding, and create lasting change. His work reminds us all of the power of service, and his life is an example for this and future generations of Ghanaians to emulate. Ladies and gentlemen, this lodge is a gateway to possibilities. It has been designed to accommodate Ghanaian and foreign diplomats alike. Please excuse me. That can shape the future of Ghana and indeed of the world. With its 15 presidential suites, advanced meeting facilities.
All right, so that's the famous Edo Lodge when it was refurbished, eh? So
yes.
Refurbished. But you heard all the nice things that the president said about Edo Lodge. You've been there?
Yes, I know Edo Lodge. As I said, 2001, I had the opportunity of going there several times over almost 2 weeks period because there was a special guest staying over there.
Okay.
But that's not, we're not talking about the night. I mean, it will be wrong to misquote. We are not talking about whether it is fit for sitting or not.
Yeah.
We are talking about the fact that this particular aspect has some history.
Yeah.
I think that is just her complaint about. She had some trauma, as we rightly said, her uncle was abducted from that particular place. And it is the same place they have taken her proceedings over there.
Okay.
So nobody is talking about whether that place is fit for sitting or whatever.
Okay.
We are talking about the psychological aspect of it.
Okay.
So let's get that particular thing right.
All right.
And the point I was making about Samit Jeffrey, that let you play in this particular tape. Look at the amount of misrepresentation he was doing over there. To the extent that instead of using new Ghana cedis, he chose to use old Ghana cedis, saying 1.4 billion. Was there a need for it? So it was a propaganda against the Chief Justice.
All right.
So the purpose of Article 146 proceedings in camera has been defeated.
All right.
There's nothing left to rescue.
All right.
So whatever she said does not further damage the purpose of Article 146.
All right.
It is left with her reputation to rescue.
All right.
And I think she was within her right.
Hamza, let me ask you this. There are some people who feel, and I have to emphasize that. I know you have your general thoughts that you want to spread, but there are some people who feel that perhaps government communication shouldn't have responded to her because it creates a certain impression that maybe government has some hand in this. What do you tell somebody who says that? And that she should have been left to the committee. The committee probably should have had their spokesperson to respond to the things that she said.
Moro. It is interesting.
You have a lot to say, eh?
Not really.
Okay.
I do not. I belong to the school of thought that is of the opinion that this matter should be left to the committee to handle.
Right.
And if you like, our law courts. Because we represent a president who has demonstrated all his political life adherence to the rule of law and respect for the fundamental principles based on which our rule of law is anchored, even though he's not a lawyer, and in fact, not even a judge, because he's not a lawyer, let alone being a judge.
Right.
But he understands the basic requirement and injunction on us to respect our constitutional provisions and ensure that we do things according to the laid down rules and regulations of our legal architecture. And so, if a suspended Chief Justice organizes a press conference and sought to create an impression that there's a politically driven agenda to oust her from office, it is only proper for the president or the official spokesperson of His Excellency the President to state emphatically that indeed the presidency has no interest or whatsoever in her being there or not as Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana. What the president is simply engaged in is honoring time-tested constitutional provisions that required him to take the petitions through certain procedures, of which he has done.
Okay.
Nothing more than that.
Okay.
So I think that it was important for the minister responsible for government communications to make that statement. and also to provide the information to the effect that even the choice of venue was not decided by His Excellency the President, but it was a request made to the government of Ghana, and options were given, including this one, and the committee opted for this.
Right.
But you see, Moro, for me, that is not even the substantive issue we should be concerned about. If truly we are concerned about the justice delivery system of our country and respect for our Constitution 1992, then we all must not mince words in condemning what the suspended Chief Justice did yesterday. That act was simply a defiant posture intended not to disrespect the sanctity of the presidency, but to a very large extent intended to undermine our constitutional provisions. Constitutional provisions, she swore an oath as a judge, and secondly, as Chief Justice, to uphold and defend. That act was sacrilegious,
Right.
to say the least. And as citizens of this republic, knowing that our democracy revolves around our Constitution, we must all be up in arms condemning that act of the suspended Chief Justice.
Yeah.
For many who were in doubt as to whether or not her conduct amounted to stated misbehavior as enshrined in our Constitution, based on which a Chief Justice could be taken out of office, I think that that doubt was put to rest yesterday.
How? How so?
Tomorrow. You see, you are dealing with a Chief Justice who ought, and I'm using the word ought, to understand the import of Article 1468 of our Constitution. That places an injunction on us to ensure that when it comes to Article 146 procedure, it must be done in camera. This Chief Justice questioned that constitutional provision and proceeded to the Supreme Court of the Republic of Ghana, presided over by her colleagues, demanding that indeed she should be given an opportunity for the hearing to be made public. The Supreme Court proceeded to make a determination based on existing law, because there's ample precedent to the effect that such proceedings need to be done in camera. But she was not happy with the presidency. Probably she wanted to challenge it. Moro, when she went, the Supreme Court decided that it was not in her place to determine that these proceedings should be made public, and that it was put in there in the Constitution for a reason, and it ought to be respected. This woman decided not to only speak on the constitutional provisions as laid down in Article 146, but also proceeded to do same with the judgment of her colleagues. So yesterday her conduct showed her unwillingness to respect our constitutional provisions, her unwillingness to respect judgments from the Supreme Court, and to a very large extent, her unwillingness to respect presidential directives anchored on these same constitutional provisions. And that is why I feel that it should be enough basis to constitute stated misbehavior, based on which the woman, Chief Justice, should be shown the exit. For many of us, even the petitions, not averting our minds to the contents of the petitions, but this conduct alone, Moro, is enough.
Let me read something quickly. Just a quick one.
Oh,
I asked for a public hearing because I know that the secrecy of the proceedings for removing judges was not created in the Constitution to be used as a cover-up for my agenda. The Constitution expects that the only reasons for removing the Chief Justice and public officials, subject to Article 146, will be matters that make them unable or unfit to perform the functions of their office, and matters that affect sensitive national interest, public order, or safety. In my case, nothing in the petitions I received reflected weighty issues of sensitivity or national interest.
Moro, what you have just read, with the greatest
you don't agree with that?
It's nuance in the words of the Chief Justice.
Really?
Suspended. It's nuance. You see, the determination is not in her hands at this stage.
Okay.
It was placed before the Supreme Court. In the midst of all these nuance, the Supreme Court disagreed with her position.
Right.
So the law, even before she went to court, was such that these proceedings ought to be held in camera. The Supreme Court proceeded to give a tacit seal of approval to previous decisions by agreeing with those previous decisions that indeed it needs to be done in camera. So we are not interested. The decision as to whether or not to make it in camera or not, or public, is not a decision that she has to make. So that's why I'm telling you that in her own words, because she referred to our disagreements with judicial decisions as noise.
Yeah.
In her own words, this is nothing but noise.
Okay. All right, so proceed.
So, Moro, it is important for us to set that stage. Clearly, you see, you have a Chief Justice suspended who has shown that it is not only the presidency that is after her, even her own colleagues that she worked with are after her. Because she doesn't understand why. The Supreme Court disagreed with her decision to go public with a hearing. She also proceeded to attack committee members who happens to be her colleagues on the bench. So these are things that must attract our attention.
Right.
What kind of a character are you?
Did she attack them?
Oh, come on.
What do you call an attack?
Oh, come on. You see, when you were speaking, I was quiet.
Oh, were you?
I was. I only
let them replay.
You see.
Please carry on. Carry on.
You're
talking
because
about
she just
questioned
colleagues. She just questioned their judgment.
Yes.
Now, Moro, the Chief Justice, if you read her statement fully, I think that 4 thematic areas stands out. The first has to do with her assertion that the process is historic. Again, another half-baked fact. It may be true that this is the first time that the Chief Justice is being taken through Article 146 procedure.
And that's not historic?
Please, don't do this to our listeners.
Please go ahead.
It may be true that it is the first time, but it is false that this is the first time that we are using Article 146. That provision has been used before. Article 146 was used in the case of Charlotte Osei. It was used in the case of Loretta Lamptey and the likes of Justice Derrick. So this is not the first time that we are using Article 146 as far as the processes as enshrined. It's not the first time.
Right.
Yes, in relation to the Chief Justice
is the first
as
time.
An office,
it's unprecedented.
It's unprecedented.
Right.
The first time, because the first time there was an attempt to use it was in the Bright Acuity petition.
Yes.
Where President Kufuor proceeded to even institute a committee.
Yeah.
But Frank Adjetun questioned the legality of that committee and the setting up of the committee, and the Supreme Court agreed with Frank Adjetun. So this is the first time that we have gotten to this stage. So we must be fair to the facts. Secondly, he said that the reason why she is concerned is that it would have an effect on other judges and to a very large extent other state institutions like Shraj and the likes. Clearly, the Chief Justice obviously was not in Ghana when the processes for the removal from office of Charlotte Osei started. Because these were the very arguments we raised. So it is not going to be her case that would demonstrate effect or an effect on subsequent actions as far as many of these institutions are concerned. The foundation, arguably, was laid by the Charlotte Osei case. And we cautioned then that the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo needed to be careful. So she should not ascribe that relevance
If that's
to her
the case,
case.
if that's the case, then you should be supporting her demand for being handed over the copies of the thing because you stood for it in the past.
No. But I'm not against. I'm handed over.
No, I'm saying that in the past, you stood for the principle that when you want copies of a petition which has been filed against you, you must be handed. You must be given.
But she has been given. Who is saying?
She said she's not been given. She wasn't.
Says
given.
who?
That's what she said.
Were you not in this country when she officially wrote to His Excellency the President demanding the copies of the petition?
Yes.
Didn't the President responded by supplying copies of the petition?
But she said she's not been
and
given.
gave her 10 days to respond, and
Yes.
she responded in 7 days.
She said she wanted a committee to give her a copy
Moro,
to see
you
whether
Moro,
it corresponds with what the president has given to her.
Don't do this this morning. Don't do this this morning.
No, I'm just asking.
The point is that you know that she has copies of the petition.
Okay. She wants one from the committee.
So now, I'm talking about affected institutions.
Okay.
This is not the first time this is happening.
Right.
The Charlotte Osei case set that standard.
Right.
Didn't she know when Charlotte Osei was going through the processes that it would have a bearing on other institutions that fall under the ambit of Article
It's a fair
146?
question. It's a fair question.
She didn't know. Now she's alleging. As far as her concerns are, it has to be taken seriously. That indeed, her action, what she's going through, would have an impact or effect on many other institutions that falls under Article 146. People went through Article 146 before her. So if there's anybody who ought to have been concerned that going through Article 146 would have a bearing on future cases, clearly, it ought to have been Charlotte Osei.
Yeah.
And when she raised those concerns, they didn't listen. In her case, most of her petitioners were even there.
So this is a payback.
Her petition was not even signed. But we found legal basis to do so, to carry her through the processes. So the Chief Justice should thank her stars that we have a president who is committed to the legal principles of this country, even though he's not a lawyer. And he's honoring it the way it should be.
Okay.
Again, she raises another funny issue of irregularities and illegalities as a third pillar. And one of it is, like I've already responded to the public hearing, but one of it has to do with grounds for removing the Chief Justice.
Yes.
She claims that if you look at the petitions that are before the committee, and that was submitted to His Excellency the President, she does not think that they are weighty enough to warrant a kickstart of the removal process.
Yes.
Again, the Constitution did not place the responsibility of determining a prima facie on the Chief Justice. It is not for her to determine. The Constitution is clear that that determination has to be made by the President in conjunction or in consultation with the Council of State.
Right.
So what she may determine as being improper, the reverse could be the case when it comes to the determination by His Excellency the President and the Council of State. Indeed, she has sat on cases as part of the panel on same facts, application of same law, and she has arrived at different conclusions on those cases, different conclusions from that of her colleagues on the bench. Is that not the case, Mo? So why is she suddenly arrogating to herself a constitutional responsibility that has been given to His Excellency the President and the Council of State? So we are not interested in her view of what constitutes a determination of prima facie. Because that responsibility has been placed squarely by the President and the Council of State. And the Chief Justice ought to have known that. As for the issue of venue, I'm glad that you played President Nanado's statement on the Edu Lodge. She also claims that in the past, all those who have been taken through Article 146, they had their cases heard at the court complex, or if you like, offices assigned by the judiciary. What she has forgotten is that all those people who passed through Article 146, they passed through same directly under her auspices because she was in charge of the determination of the prima facie case, not His Excellency the President and Council of State. So they were under her offices. So if she presided over the processes and decided to use judicial service buildings to conduct such hearings, the Constitution places the responsibility now on His Excellency the President to determine a prima facie case in consultation with the Council of State when it has to do with the Chief Justice. So it takes it outside the remit of the judiciary to that of the executive in consultation with the Council of State. So if the executive is taking that decision, who then decides where the venue should be? Because you were in charge of the determination of the prima facie case. That's why you decided where Charlotte Osei and co. And if I say you, I'm not referring to her as a person, but the office of Chief Justice.
Are you saying these current committee members, are they members of the executives?
You are not getting the point I'm making.
No, the
Constitution places the responsibility not on the head of the judiciary to determine a prima facie case. It places that responsibility on the head of the executive arm of government, in this case the President, to determine a prima facie case when it has to do with the Chief Justice. And I'm telling you that when the Chief Justice determines, say, in the case of the likes of Charlotte Osei and Loretta Lamptey, and if I say the Chief Justice, I'm referring to her office, not the person. When that determination was done, because in their cases, she had to determine, or that office had to determine the prima facie case, it meant that they fell under her, and she could determine where the committee would sit. And so if the Chief Justice decided to use the judicial service buildings, and say, go and sit at Block A, Block B, she probably was right, because it's under her auspices.
Sorry, I'm not interrupting you, but I'm not following this. But after the determination of the prima facie case, the
I'm not talking about after the determination. Don't go there. That means you're wrong. So I'm talking about the process of determining.
No, but the hearing now, her concern about the hearing now at Edu Lodge.
No, you see,
he's gone past there.
Please,
please.
He's gone past there. You see, that's the problem with the NPP. They don't follow. They don't follow. Now, so clearly, you cannot be expecting to go through the same process in terms of venue that those you were responsible for determining the prima facie case against went through. Now, that responsibility has been given to His Excellency the President and the Council of State, the executive. It means that they also have to take a decision as to where to house the proceedings. There is no constitutional injunction that requires them to hold such proceedings at the Judicial Service Building or any other place. It gives them the freedom and laxity to make a choice as to where they want to hold such proceedings. And that point needs to be made clearly. And President Nana Addo Dankwa, former, clearly stated the significance of that edifice to the Republic of Ghana and what it represents. And I think that if the Chief Justice needs more education, she should do well and engage the very gentleman who appointed her as Chief Justice for proper education about the significance of Edu Lodge to the Republic of Ghana and to the good people of this country.
But she says it triggers a certain how do you call it, psychological...
That's a unique situation.
Yeah, and because of what is happening to her.
She was there when somebody was abducted.
So she suspects that
there are so many people
in order to torture her
psychologically. Do you have an idea? The number of people who walk to our courts with their parents only to return home without them. Because they have been sentenced and taken to prison by the courts. So tomorrow, if such people are also to be taken through the court system, they have the liberty to say that it reminds them of unacceptable memories because their fathers were incarcerated through that process. Come on. In any case, Moro, there's also another interesting point the Chief Justice made.
Before you make that point, I'll have to beg you to do it because we have to sell. That very interesting point. So please note it. I beg you. Please note it. Hamza, forgive us. So we're taking a short break. It's no more than a minute. We'll be back shortly. Please stay with us.
Car Center in Ghana, offering unparalleled round-the-clock service in autos and accessories. Nadam Autofix is the biggest distributors of used tires in Ghana, offering first-grade second-hand car tires of all rim sizes at both wholesale and retail prices. We are also the leading name in car sensor diagnostics, corrections and sales of car accessories. We excel in car washing and detailing with state-of-the-art steam engine washing machines that keep water away from your engine, ensuring a clean, healthy and responsive engine. Nadam Autofix, the first name in servicing, car accessories and car washing. Visit us today and experience the world of class difference. Find us today at Asoridaho, directly opposite Dansoman KFC and the Shell filling station. For more details, you can call us on 0503 244 266 or 0535 339823. Nado Motofix, Wukwain Sunyonko Papa.
Wabedum Tamaso J. Watch it, na learning. Missy, watch and learn. Makwaya Mabesisia Abozig. I can say no ya konati and the more drink woman. Hey, but I didn't mean. Oh, sorry. She knew her old dish. Eji, Dabio, baby womb. Ready? Hey, baby womb. Aji, I'll cause some discomfort.
Uncle,
sorry, well, uncle, where would the dad? Why your funeral? At your phone for Aerofield Trading. Sorry, it killed them all.
No mum share nanda danya was mosquito call esudu womunumu. Na say spray with them musa. Chaisima edronum ansana ko dynamo.
And Kratoi FDA Ajatum.
Ebusiafo ye mama kwaba eba Children's Palace. Nkwala nyema nyina fie enyi. Yonkwala ntade mani mema nyina ntare nyina wase. Yonkwala shoes, yonkwala duane, yonkwala wipes, yonkwala diapers, yonkwala toys, baby coat. In fact, the bibia opama omanyina obenye biwa ase.
Located at East Legon Hills, Nana Chrome KFC. Contact us on 059 6377 172. Children's Palace. Happy children, happy fashion. See you soon. Bye bye.
I'm here at Mycom JA Limited to show you the Promethean Active Panel, the ultimate tool for corporate institutions, hospitals, schools, and your home. With its crystal clear 4K display and an unbreakable screen with an ultra responsive touch technology. This isn't just a screen, it's a game changer. For corporate institutions and in schools, this active panel can be used for Zoom meetings and PowerPoint presentations. And your homes are not left behind. You can use it to watch all your favorite programs by just connecting to a Fire Stick, and you can get access to channels like Netflix and Amazon, and voila, you are in there. At Mycom JA Limited, we provide you with the best quality products from the United States of America with 1-year warranty. You can get an
MGL Logistics and Supply is your trusted partner, providing seamless solutions for all your procurement needs. From sourcing products to managing imports and exports, we ensure smooth and efficient transactions every step of the way. Whether you require goods from across the globe or need assistance in exporting your products to international markets, we got you covered. General trading is at the heart of our expertise. We specialize in a wide range of products, catering to various industries and markets. As a trusted dealership in building materials, we provide high-quality products that meet the demands of our construction projects. Additionally, we act as manufacturers' representatives, connecting producers with distributors. Our expertise in logistics is the backbone of our operations. We plan and execute transportation and delivery of goods, ensuring they reach their destination on time and in optimal condition. MGO Logistics and Supply, guaranteed satisfaction.
Want to get polytan?
Oh, and you're fine.
Go straight.
No, I want for left, right.
That's right. Ghana na yewono. So when you do more, any data. Who knows? Abe, na here. Me pe polytan kato. Enu ti ta menu aba you to be aba na ba you. O food to be a enjoy ye kura.
Akuya bulambu kotoman. Emua.
Like they take to buy so. Go to the distributor and you give the original polytank. You get a sound?
Polytank. Papananka Sankasa.
Mommy. Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Chocolate Toothpaste. Healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome to Rehoboth Palm Ayumensa Gated Community. Nestled between the vibrant city of Accra and the breathtaking Ebri Mountains lies a serene gated community. Here, you'll find litigation-free, fully serviced demarcated plots to build your dream house in a gated community surrounded by lush greenery and the calming beauty of nature. Perfect canvas for your dream home you want to build. With well-tarred roads, a reliable drainage system, electricity and water, fully serviced plots are ready for your vision. Enjoy exclusive amenities like a swimming pool, tennis and basketball courts, all within the comfort of your community. Start your mornings with peaceful walks or energizing jogs under the shade of palm trees and stunning views of the Peduase Ebri Mountains and city skyline. Starting from 450,000 Ghana cedis and a flexible payment plan, visit www.rehobothpropertiesgh.com to make inquiries. Call or WhatsApp us on 020-682-3524, 055-375-1933, or 024-476-4499. Rehoboth Properties. Quality housing for.
Conclude something. Japan Mesa sits here and say, what wrong has the Chief Justice done? the Chief Justice is not supposed to have done any wrong at this stage. Prima facie determination is not a determination of wrong, is it? You are a lawyer and you are speaking like this. What the president needs to determine is whether or not the Chief Justice has a case to answer, whether the petitions against her are not frivolous. And the Chief Justice herself has admitted to clear wrongdoing in her own responses, which, as I say, radio has serialized. The Chief Justice says that she decided, in fact, her words, you remember the words she used, I opted to use my official travel privileges for a private travel. You go on a private vacation. A private vacation. Some say Ayenene was not aware of this. She would have petitioned for Getu Chokono's removal. Because when Loretta Lamte used state funds, 182,000 cedis on her private residence, you and your client, you got President Mahama to sack her. This woman carried state funds to sponsor her daughter and her husband on a private vacation and pay them per diem. You are sitting here saying, what wrong has she done? She has admitted.
The suspension is discretionary. And the president could have exercised the discretion otherwise. In Loretta Lamte's case, once the prima facie determination was made by Georgina Wood, we then had to petition President Mahama again and ask him to exercise his power under 146 to suspend her because there were witnesses we wanted to call from Shraj. And while she was there, it would be difficult for us to call them. They would not cooperate. There were documents we needed from Shraj. Suspended. And whilst he did. He did.
And that Loretta Lamte was appointed by Atta Mills, right?
Correct.
When John Mahama was vice president, he gets suspended. So some of you should even be the ones leading the charge.
We asked for it, and we gave a reason why she should be suspended. What's the reason in this case?
That the petitioner must ask for it. The Constitution says that once the Council of State advises that he must be suspended, the president acts in accordance. No, you see, read that provision very well. And I've read Senior Tadio Sori's argument on that matter, and I agree with Tadio Sori. That provision, when construed as a whole, is not discretionary.
Really?
It's not. Because it says the president may, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State, suspend the Chief Justice.
Let's read it. Let's read it. 146 clause 10. Where a petition has been referred to a committee under this article, the president may, in the case of...
So this is the video that Ishaq Ibrahim is saying that it makes nonsense of Article 1468 because the National Communications Officer of the NDC, of course not him, there were others who put out this information out there and about the petition which was given by the President to the Chief Justice and the responses thereof. And I was asking whether indeed that position he had taken, whether the position Ishaq had taken was acceptable or not. So we decided to play that video. In fact, the Chief Justice herself mentioned it. She said the matter was even in the public domain, so there's nothing new. So the matters of confidentiality and secrecy had already been breached, according to her. So Hamza, please go ahead.
After grave injustice done me.
Oh,
that's fine.
Stop whining.
Why do you treat Hamza like
this?
You don't want him to deliver.
Yes, I know the game. I know. You see, the most important thing is that you see, you can say whatever you want to say about the interview Semi Jamfi granted or the discussion he had. The fact remains that a higher standard is required of the leader of the judiciary, the Chief Justice. So you cannot use commentary of citizens of the Republic of Ghana that clearly you would consider a breach of the rules of in-camera proceedings and proceed on the basis of that alleged breach to justify your own breach when you ought to have known better.
Right.
So her justification that the petitions are already in the public domain and people are proceeding to run commentary on sale and for which reason she also proceeded as Chief Justice to do same, must not be entertained by any well-thinking Ghanaian, especially so when she is the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, suspended, no, and ought to have known better. A higher standard is required of her. Is Sammy Jemfi given privileges of traveling with family and the tickets being paid for by the state? She has that privilege. Why does she have that privilege? Because a higher standard is expected of her. So she cannot proceed on the basis of such flimsy excuse that is already in the public domain and discussed by Ghanaians, and for which reason she is excused to break the law. What kind of reasoning is this? And this is a lady entrusted with justice delivery in our country. And she says something profound, even in the statement, that she never knew that this was the kind of injustice the system exudes. Where was she? Does she have an idea how frustrated Ghanaians are when it comes to using our court systems? Clearly. So she was even absent-minded in terms of the responsibilities that we entrusted on her to do. In any case, in the entire rendition, she was unable to point out a single evidence that indeed the law has been breached as far as its application to her is concerned. She was not able to. She even proceeded to question the local standing of Daniel Ofori in some of the allegations that he raised. Moro. And that was, again, one low lamentation of the Chief Justice.
Right.
Because it is established in law that when it comes to many of these provisions, including Article 146, the petitioner does not need to have a personal interest in the matter to be able to raise it as an allegation against you. And that decision is clearly captured in the Frank Ajetum case. And if the Chief Justice was minded to read that decision, she would have come to the conclusion that Daniel Ofori needed not to demonstrate a personal interest in the allegations that she raised against her.
Right.
On the basis of which a prima facie determination was made by the President in consultation with the Council of State. So, you understand why the framers of the Constitution was careful not to grant public hearings to such proceedings. Because if you are not a lawyer and you are not a legal person, and the Chief Justice, who is supposed to know better, is subjecting judicial decisions to such law simply because she simply does not have an idea of many of these holdings, how would your confidence level be if you are to appear in the future before such a Chief Justice, who clearly seem not to even appreciate that when it comes to local standing of people, of petitioners, they need not to demonstrate personal interest? When the Frank Ajetum case clearly says that you don't need such personal interest to be demonstrated. She doesn't know that. So, for me, that is why I'm saying that the Chief Justice did so much harm to herself yesterday, and indeed provided justification for her removal from office, if you ask me. She is talking about the leaking of the petitions, and my brother also made reference to that and sought to create the impression that it was leaked by Sammy Jemfi. That is another falsehood. Moreover, we were on this platform when hardcore evidence of leakage of the petition was brought to our attention. Remember, it was published live by Asasi Radio. And they proceeded to publish the responses of the suspended Chief Justice. Everyone knows the political leanings of Asasi Radio and the ownership structure of that entity. Do you think that an NDC administration would be that careless to leak such a petition to Asasi Radio to publish? And even before that, when she demanded for copies of the petition from the president had cause to caution her in his letter to her that she should try as much as possible not to leak those petitions too. Because she had done, remember that when she wrote the letter requesting for the petition, even before the presidency could take delivery of the letter was already out, published by Asase Radio again. Even after that admonition by His Excellency the President, the petitions were leaked.
Right.
Clearly. We do not need a soothsayer to tell us who leaked those petitions to Asase Radio. Especially when she appears to be working closely with the former Attorney General, Godfrey Dami. And that is why last night, the only justification that came to mind, as far as the action was concerned, was clearly to give the NPP some reprieve, or a breathing space, I should say. Because we all know that for some time now, the internal politics of the NPP has occupied our political discourse.
Carry your own cross.
Because of the privileged positions of the likes of the former Attorney General.
Okay.
And knowing the modus operandi of your political party, I came to one conclusion, that indeed maybe the NPP decided to use her as an effective diversionary system so that at least we give them some breathing space and concentrate more on these issues.
Okay.
And they decided to activate their channels using the likes of the former Attorney General. So, Boro, as for the NDC and His Excellency John Dramani, I can assure you that if at the end of the day the committee is of the view that the Chief Justice has done absolutely nothing wrong, President Mahama will revoke the suspension and allow her to go back to her office. But in any case, why is the woman crying as though a decision has already been reached as far as the process is concerned?
You haven't read the document?
A decision has not been reached. And I am told that she has gone to the High Court for judicial review. When she made her first application to the Supreme Court, and I read her supporting affidavit on another sister station with one of their lawyers, I raised the concern as to whether indeed that application ought to be entertained by the Supreme Court, because she came under the inherent jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. Of course. And the Supreme Court has that power. But reading it, I realized that she was raising human rights issues. And so I cautioned. I remember on that platform that from where I sit, I was of the view that the appropriate forum should have been the High Court. So I'm glad that today she has gone to the High Court. But what she has done to herself, unfortunately, is that with her decision to go to the Supreme Court first, and the Supreme Court determination that because of the in-camera nature of the proceedings, it will be difficult for them to proceed on many of the issues that she raised. That is why the Supreme Court decided to strike out that supporting affidavit. And proceeded to say that it constituted an affront to Article 1468. I'm now wondering, with that decision that applies to the High Court, how the High Court would be able to meander its way through. But I wish her well. She's a mother and a grandmother, I am told. And if she's exonerated, why not? We'll all come out and congratulate her. But from where I sit, Moro, I would be hugely surprised if she's exonerated, because her conduct yesterday in itself should be enough for us to show her the exit. And I know you agree with me.
No,
that
I don't.
Conduct is
then you are not agreeing with me all along.
I know you are doing politics.
This man is in an island of his own.
No, I know you are doing politics.
You are doing politics.
In all of this,
you are mistaking me to be like you.
I have huge admiration for your husband. I mean, he follows everywhere.
He was doing politics. He thought we are doing politics.
Anyway, so Ishak, let's do this quickly. We have just 15 minutes to go. So let's see if we can split the 15 minutes into 7 minutes each. So that the two of you can weigh in on this matter. You know, the former president, John Ejekun Kufuor, is very, 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 very unhappy with the political party on which he stood to become president. Indeed, arguably, he's the best, arguably, he's the best president that the MPP or the Buzia Dombo Dankwa tradition has ever produced, right? Arguably. Now, he is concerned about religious and tribal politics.
Yes.
Which has characterized the MPP's internal politics.
Yeah.
He wants that to end ASAP. And that for the longest time, the MPP had been perceived as an Akan party.
Yeah.
And so, the party, in trying to fix that, or in trying to remedy that image,
yes,
put up a man who is of a northern extraction and also a Muslim. And the same person wants to make a comeback because it didn't work out the first time, and he wants to give it a second shot.
Okay.
So where from this whole talk about Muslim, northerner, he's unhappy. So if you look at today's Daily Guide, okay, it says Kufuor slams religious politics. Vera Owusu Sapon and Florence Adom Asamoah says former President John Ejikun Kufuor yesterday took a swipe at religious politics, which he said does not augur well for party unity and cohesion and should be shunned.
Yes.
The ultimate objective of every political party, he said, is to win power, and for this to take place, he said there should be unity.
Yes.
People, he said, should not be friends to belong to political parties, pointing out that we are in a party because we want the grouping to win power. He also descended upon the entitlement attitude among some members of the New Patriotic Party, which, according to him, is counterproductive.
Yes.
Now, he was speaking prior to launching the Patriotic Institute of the MPP at the party's headquarters in Asalam Down in Accra. We tend to be self-centered, he said, and called for party unity among members of the MPP. Democracy is not about religion or tribe. He told his audience, adding that those who perpetuate it should be stopped in their tracks.
Yeah.
Going down memory lane, he recalled how, because of the fragmentation of the MPP, the People's National Party, PNP, with Dr. Hilal Iman as flag bearer, won the 1979 elections. The votes gathered by the PNP and the others could have earned the MPP's one-touch victory. Without unity, there would be no party, he stressed. Now, of course, prior to this, we've heard about all kinds of endorsements.
Yes.
Your candidates, were told, had about 220 former MMDCs who supported him, and we also heard about 60 MPs, current MPs who supported him, and so on. And also in the case of Kennedy Japon, you're also saying some MPs have supported him, MMDCs, and so on and so forth. First of all, where do you stand? Are you Baumia?
I thought you
for
Kennedy Japon?
Are you for Dr. Brian Champong? Are you for Kwabena Japon? Are you for Joe Gatti? Are you for who else? Which name have I left out? Yes, where do you belong?
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity. Yes, I think since the party made it clear
and again, early Congress, so you can put all of that together.
Yes, yes.
In just 7 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. So I don't want to beat about the bush.
Sure.
I have no doubt that all those people who have shown interest, they are all good materials.
Okay.
But the best among them is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Okay.
If we want to take power from this nation records, it is Bawumia who is our best bet for a number of reasons. Why do I say he's the best? He understands the issues. I think the most important thing, if you are going to choose a leader, is somebody who really understands the issues. You cannot say he's new to politics anymore. Since 2007 and up to now, he has been in the forefront of our politics. So when it comes to the issues, in fact, the people attribute the fact that President Mahama was so humiliated down to the speeches. In fact, the previous coining of the incompetent person. And I think President Mahama has never forgiven him for that. And look at all those candidates. I know a lot of people who have gotten to know Kennedy Japan, but you cannot compare that to that of the vice president. He's well known across the country. So it's very, very easy to market an individual like that. As for Brian Achampong and other people who have shown the interest, I don't want to say something that belittles them. They also have their strong points. But when it comes to marketing them, I mean, even Greater Accra, how many people knows the former Agric minister? So it's easy. And another thing is Ghanaians want consistency. Ghanaian wants consistency. History have told us that even in our party, look at the NDCs. Who thought they could present President Mahama again? After he was humiliatingly defeated. They have rejected it several times. But the rules in favor of consistency is saddled out with another term of President Mahama. So repeating the vice president is not new in our party. President Kufuor was repeated. Akufo-Addo was repeated several times. So the rules in favor of consistency, I think, and then, look, believe it or not, if you listen to the campaign of the vice president the previous time, some of these our northern brothers try to brand him as not being a good Muslim. Why does he go to mosques and churches? And he said, listen, I'm not doing this for politics. Even within my family. And I can testify, some of his brothers are Christians. So religion is not something he sees to be dividing people. He sees the religion to be uniting us, just as his family is united, regardless of whether some are Christians or Muslims. And the place he's coming from. Listen, Moro, Wale is a very unique place. Wale is the only town in the country that when you go there, you go to church, you hear the pastor is called Sulebana. I've attended a wedding in Wale where the pastor was called Sule, and the bride was called Muniru, and the bridegroom was called Sakina. This is a very unique place. So religion is nothing that he seems to be dividing us. So for me, and it is a dangerous area. If you look at the crimes that are committed in almost all places, like look at how divisions in Rwanda led to genocide. And we know even from the British that the best way to conquer people is to divide them. When you divide them, you are able to easily rule. So if you see some of the candidates in our party that are using religion as an excuse, it's a desperate move. They realize that talking about the issues, they will not get anywhere. So using religion might be the best way to divide people. And I think it is very dangerous.
Okay.
For example, I've heard Honorable Kennedy Japan also using the religious card, plus other people. In the unlikely event that Kennedy Japan wins the primaries, how do I, as a Muslim, go to appeal to my fellow Muslims that let's come out and vote for Kennedy Japan? Especially if you say a Muslim will never become president in the country. What happened to the Muslim minorities? And as a student of the Quran, it tells me that yes, God divided us into various groups. And these divisions are merely for us to be able to identify each other. It doesn't matter somebody is better than the other.
Okay.
So for me, if I'm the electorate, I'm going to vote. Religion should not be what concerns me. What should concern me is who can best serve my interests.
Right.
And if you look among all those candidates, I mean, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia stand out. And I believe that come 31st December, he is going to be our flag bearer. The only thing I will urge people to do is, yes, those of us in the Bawumia camp, let's deal gentle with the other group. I know people are throwing stones. They are throwing all sorts of mud. But we want after December, after 31st January, reconciliation will become very, very easy.
Okay.
And we should have the interest of the party at heart.
All right.
Because we know Ghanaians want us to be united.
Okay.
And I think unity should be, and so the call by President Kufuor is in the right direction.
All right. So I was actually keeping the time when you were talking. You've done exactly 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Yes, and
Okay.
we have 7 minutes more to go.
Okay.
Take us off. Yes.
But this doesn't concern him. Is he going to deal with different topics or
why?
The same thing?
He always comments on your issues.
I have had enough bite on the matter.
Okay.
And so when it comes to the politics of the NPP, I will leave them to it because I am convinced that irrespective of the person they produce, the National Democratic Congress will do everything within our power. First, to fulfill the promises we made to the Ghanaian people so that we can carry the Ghanaian people along to the next election and ensure that we defeat them soundly once more. So I leave them today to their internal wranglings. I wish them well because we need their contributions, meaningful ones at that, when it comes to the political discourse of our country and how to better the lives of our people. But they must not forget the damage they subjected this country to in the last 8 years, the havoc they caused the economic fortunes of this country to the point that we were locked out of the capital markets, to a point that Ghanaians had to be subjected to the burden of a domestic debt exchange program that led to the loss of many lives. Ghanaians will never forget that legacy of the NPP, especially under Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So these are things that we must continue to remind ourselves, especially as a republic. But, Moro, for me, what I think we should concentrate a little bit more on has to do, again, with the conduct of the suspended Chief Justice. And I want to end on that note. Moro, this, you see, it is not a laughing matter. It is not a laughing matter. What Madam Tokono did yesterday was simply to tell our constitutional bodies and our constitution, for that matter, to go to hell. And as someone who is supposed to be upholding these principles, to conduct herself in such a manner, we must all express our revulsion at that and demand, even beyond the petitions that have been subjected or submitted to His Excellency the President, we must outrightly demand her removal as a republic. Because we must protect the sanctity of the judiciary and our constitutional underpinning. She showed by that press conference her desires to privilege gossips over constitutionally laid down principles. She showed by that press conference her appetite to be carried away by partisan considerations rather than the law. I do not know whether she was serving, as the MPP or Tescon used to say, service without inducement. I do not know whether she was giving meaning to that slogan by MPP Tescon, by that flagrant partisan disposition she manifested yesterday. Because what by that action, she sank low to the political field and decided to throw out political jabs. By her reference to the Edu Lodge and the murder of judges in our nation's history, it was an invitation for us to engage her politically. By that, the content of that press conference, she indicated openly yesterday that this is no more a legal matter for her, but a political battle. A battle she is ready to face. So the nation must express their revulsion, especially when we are dealing with a president who has every step of the way shown such reverence and respect to our constitution. Do you think that if Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was president, Madam Tokono would have had the effrontery to throw out the jabs she threw out using that press conference against the republic?
Why do you think she can't?
But we all know President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the way she led this country to a point that even people were afraid to express their views. Do you think that Charlotte Assay, when she went home, didn't have concerns? But everybody knows the kind of character Nana Addo is. So, Moro, they must thank God on a daily basis that we have a leader like His Excellency President Mahama. But it does not mean that many of us will stay quiet and allow them to take his gentle disposition for granted and think that this is a president you can run over and have it easy. We will not entertain that, especially as members of the National Democratic Congress. And I can say so confidently because I'm not a member of the government. But I'm a member of the National Democratic Congress, the party that presented His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. And I am under oath to defend and protect his legacy. And we will not sit down and allow anybody
let me use
partisanship to derail
All right.
His sincere effort.
Let me use the last. Let me just use the last minute. Our time is up. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Was the last minute to read a few messages. So,
okay.
because here in North and Agona Odobing says, some of us, the great MPP is all that we know, and our loyalty to the cause of the party is unhindered. We have gone through heated internal contests before, and I know all these shall pass, even though we expect a decorum and I think it's a decorous, not a decorum. So a decorous and sanitized campaigns. The interest of the MPP must reign supreme. Kwesi Reynolds in Agona Odobing. Now, Abdul Razak says that, my regards to Mr. Hamza and Mr. Ishaq, I am overwhelmed by my brother Hamza's submission. His ability to pick statements the embattled former Chief Justice made at her press conference yesterday and the brilliance with which he punches holes into them is remarkable. I admire Mr. Ishaq for his deep knowledge of the law and his sincerity in all matters, but he's been too partisan today. Today, so you are being too partisan. Abdul Razak he sends out a message from Medina. Now, Bernard Mona, you're a very good friend.
Yeah.
Yes. Bernard Mona of the PNC, he's a PNC national chairman.
Yes.
He says, Dear Moro, the suspended Chief Justice is worried that a resignation would deny her all her entitlement for her services meritorious or unmeritorious to Ghana. If assurance is given for the material benefits, she would yield. Anyway, so Kojochu Buafo.
Hey.
Yes, Kojochu Buafo. You can always expect him to say.
Oh, yes.
Yes. He says that Ishaq.
Hey, I know.
Hey, Ishaq. Hey, Atu Ishaq. He adds that. He says, Ishaq Bako, Kasa Bibri.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Playing a home match. Have you told the viewers that Bawumia is your cousin? If you haven't, I am doing Kokonsa. Friends and family as always. He says Bawumia is your cousin. Is it true? Bawumia is your cousin? That's true. And also our own Bilikis. Bilikis, I've seen your message. Thank you very much for that information you shared with us. And also this one here from Nick from Osu. It says, please, it says what? Okay, but it is risky, very risky to discuss procedural or substantive legal issues politically. This is the current bane of the Nigerian judiciary. And it says, Oliver Wendell Holmes, a former U.S. Supreme Court justice, said it is the responsibility of only competent courts to interpret and apply the law. And it's only when this is done that the law is complete. Now, playing into the gallery with legal matters gives the responsibility of the judiciary to the public. This is very dangerous. The question is, what is the position of the law? Analysis of court judgment should only be post-mortem or not preemptive. Throwing political influence to court will bring us to a point where even basic English words will be skewed and tweaked to suit political sentiments. Lawyers must not allow themselves to be used for that. It is unethical. All right, so this is where we end today's show, and I want to say a big thanks to, I have so many messages I can't read because our time is up. But our own Barbara Sian here is wishing her little daughter a happy birthday. She's called Huda Nana Esi de Souza. So Huda, happy birthday to you. Thanks for watching Good Morning Ghana. Same time tomorrow. Inshallah, we'll be back. Assalamu alaikum.
Fifra ye free nyina ye de bedie ntia de ya fugia ne aduane saasro pintin bi aseda ome de ye di koye mu ne de awie nyina na makuafo mode moso won fifre su ne nya bidio nanso bate aseman Ghana mu a akuafo akoya abo pupu obo wasio na so da su kache wona san fifre ma mu nyina nya bidie nanso mpuntudwo